Coming up later in the show, personal injury lawyer John Travolta stumbles onto a big case in a civil action.
A lot of people in my neighborhood that are dead or dying from something.
Coming up next, Nick Nolte and Sean Penn had an all-star cast in The Thin Red Line.
I want you to attack right now with every man at your disposal.
John, I'm convinced that the Japanese position can be broken right now. All we have to do is keep going, and we'll have this hill. We'll have this hill by sundown.
Army Colonel Nick Nolte leads his troops into horrific battles for the pivotal island of Guadalcanal in Terrence Malick's brilliant new film, an adaptation of the James Jones novel, The Thin Line. And let me state right up front that this is the finest contemporary war film I've seen, supplanting Steven Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan from earlier this year, or even Oliver Stone's Platoon from 1986. Malick, the cult director who hasn't made a picture in 20 years since his epic Days of Heaven, has an almost unmatched eye for the landscape and for storytelling through pictures. The Thin Red Line has us follow the fortunes of a heroic sergeant, Sean Penn, and one of his more soulful troops, played by Jim Caviezel, who has lived among the South Sea Islanders in their beautiful natural state and is forever questioning why that must be disturbed.
In this world, a man himself is nothing. And there ain't no world but this one.
You're wrong there, Top. I've seen another world.
Director Malick constantly takes us on patrol through the tall grasses of the island, allowing us to experience the tension of facing a hidden enemy.
I got him! I got him!
Ultimately, however, more compelling than the expertly staged combat sequences is the questioning of the private monologue and blunt dialogue that distinguishes The Thin Red Line. For example, here, Nick Nolte and his subordinate officer, Elias Koteas, confront each other over the expenditure of troops.
Are you prepared to sacrifice the lives of any of your men in this campaign? How many? 1, 2, 20? Lives will be lost in your company, Captain.
I was immediately caught up in this story from its first frames, and it never lost my attention. There are so many indelible images in The Thin Red Line that it almost defines what movie making is about. For example, Malick opens the film with a shot of a crocodile submerging itself in the jungle river, which quickly, I think, symbolizes the central question in this film: what is the source of the underbelly of hate that fuels war? That provocative question sticks with us as much as the look of the picture. It's a terrific achievement.
Yeah, he asked at that point, is nature at war with itself? Is dog eat dog or people kill people built into our very programming? I don't rank this higher than Saving Private Ryan or Platoon, and indeed I think that a picture you didn't mention, Apocalypse Now, is the best of the lot. But I think it's a very, very good film. He uses the same tone in the voiceover narration here that he used in Days of Heaven. And that's a little distracting to me because I just saw Days of Heaven, and it seemed like he took the tone of the narration and moved it from the Texas wheat fields to this island in the Pacific, and yet he's asking the same questions. What does it all mean? You know, there are even shots of people sitting in the grass thinking deeply as the wind blows, and it's almost the same sort of thing. But there are scenes in this movie...
It is an eternal question.
Yeah, there are scenes in this movie that are so beautiful, so visionary, so touching. There are performances. Nick Nolte is fabulous as this berserk West Point graduate who finally has his war. It's a marvelous film. And
John Travolta is surprisingly good. You know, he often plays sweet characters. Well, here he's a tough, commanding officer, and he does a very good job.
There are great moments here, and also the strategy of the battle scenes where we can understand where the enemy is, where we are, and so forth. Now, I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
Why is it that all anti-war films always have our side winning?
I think that the reason that happens is because the World War II is selected so often.
Yeah,
because
and of course we did win.
So-called good war, where good and evil were clearly defined. It's not Vietnam.
When we come back, John Travolta makes the mistake of getting personally involved in a civil action.
8 million says that we let them get away with murder.